What's up, guys? Some dickhead back.
Pretty ridiculous mix-up. Cabin rotor that was for the 620, I think is actually for the wagon. Looking through the order, I think I might have just had the wrong thing selected. When I grabbed the part, that looks a lot like the same size to me. So, whoops. And I guess the wagon is getting a new cabin rotor. Why not? I had a couple things I wanted to do on this anyway, so maybe it's time to work on this. This has been starving for fuel, it seems. It'll run pretty decently, and then under moderate to heavy acceleration, it seems like it's just starving. And if you let it sit idle for a few moments, it'll pick it back up and you can go a little further. So to me, I think that seems like starving for fuel. And the fuel tank is all cut up and resealed, but I reused the original filter and fuel pump, and I have no idea how old that stuff is. So now seems like a pretty good time to swap that pump, filter, and apparently put on a cabin rotor, and hopefully that'll solve the fuel issues. So yeah, let's pull this thing out and take a look. I'm gonna get a look at the pump and filter, make sure they look like the right thing at least. Looks the same to me. Oh wow, it's actually pretty impressive looking. I'm thinking we're good to go on this stuff. Let's throw it on there. Probably gonna want something for fuel. I don't know how much fuel is gonna come out. Should I disconnect the battery? Oh fuck, it's in the fender. Well, maybe another time. Let's try to reverse engineer the new one. This way, it's got a tab here and a tab there. Let's just get a flathead screwdriver and see if we can't pry in there. Push this away, maybe. This tab isn't touching anything, and this tab appears to be loose enough. So, oh, it's just old and crusty. Okay, well, let's take it apart. See if we can't get the new one on. Oh. This level here is pretty high. This is all gasoline. I think what I'm going to try to do is real quick swap that line onto this screwdriver to hold it. I guess I could wipe up some of the gas. Fucking no, this is so sketch. Let's just get it. Okay. I'm going to try to wipe up at least some of this gasoline. Oh boy. This is shady as hell. Obviously the shadiness level here very high. Oh shit, man. Not really talking much because I'm a little bit nervous about how much fuel is pouring onto the floor and how I have to lay in it. Okay, there's the filter out. Goes back in this way. Shady part here. Oh my God, I don't like any of that. Now tighten this one up. Oh my God. Shadiest thing I've done today by far. That is fucking sketch. All right, I've been reading this and I feel pretty good about getting under there again. Getting back a little bit of confidence to be under here. Got the fuel filter in place. This is held in place with the tabs. These are tight. These are lines that run from the fuel tank there up to the fuel pump. Fuel pump has these two, right? Positive and ground. It's got these isolators. I've got two lines going to it. One is to the carb and one's from the filter. Judging by how much came out of the filter, one of these is probably going to dump a whole shitload of fuel as well. And it looks like it would be the one on the back. So this back one is going to hemorrhage fuel big time. Just trying to get a game plan here. If I could take this off, disconnect these and keep them separate, and then maybe take the fuel pump, bring it kind of away away from the car so that I don't have to be right underneath of it when fuel's coming out. Then swap this last hose. I mean, fuel is going to come out unless I drain the tank, which I'm just not going to do that. I think that should work. It is definitely sketch, but it's better. It smells a little bit like gas under here, but I think I can go ahead and disconnect these without catching on fire. I didn't disconnect any fuses or the battery. Okay, you guys just stay separate, right? As long as nobody hits go on the key, then I'm good, right? Is that correct? Comment below. And I think maybe the move is just take this off and down so I can actually access it. These should be 10 mils. So yeah, maybe let's just do that. Oh my God, the shadiness level is not joking on this one. And I think I'm screwed completely if I get this far, but might as well have this so I can put myself out, I guess. Jesus. It's been a little while since I put this thing together. I relocated this bracket and the one from the filter over there. They were all located somewhere else. Up where you're seeing now used to be the fuel tank, but there's not enough room between the 4-link, and so it had to go behind the axle. There's nowhere else to put it unless I did a custom fuel cell. I didn't see one on the market that would fit here. All right, I like some things about that. I don't like some things about that as well. This we're gonna leave behind. So here's my hot from the car coming with me with the fuel pump. I think I'm gonna leave that there. All right, this stays here. So now this is what I've got. This is prettier. I'm further away from the fuel coming out of the thing. Figure out which one of these is gonna be the big bad boy. See if I can't emulate how this is set up. These look like they push through this way. Hardware's through. I think I can pop these off. Then what I'm gonna do, one at a time, take these, pop them off of here and put them onto here. Some fuel will definitely come out. Something like that. Now this other one will for sure have more fuel. Mildly more nervous about this one. Actually not as bad as I expected. Jeez, nerve-wracking. Can't believe I'm not on fire. I think that's the hard stuff down. And I think what I will do is let this gasoline evaporate for a little while before I go under there and connect this. But I think that's our new pump. Oh my God, shady, 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 shady. I mentioned that it's shady. Now what has to happen is this out of the way. Something like that, and then slid it on over the top. Don't break it. It's just not quite enough room, but there's gotta be a way. I mean, it came off. There we go. That's it. All right, so sneak it on there like that. Sneak it around, maybe, hopefully. Shape might be a little bit different. Might have to trim this bracket a little bit in order to make it fit. I bet it's just a little bit different now that they're, you know, aftermarket and whatever. Just doesn't quite seem like it wants to fit. Yeah, it's bending. I think it's right here. Shit. All right, I'm going to get a little trimmy here. What do I have that will work there? Dremel, angle grinder. I guess I could cut this whole thing off, have it held in by 2. That's probably not ideal. I would say this doesn't fit if I had to, you know, post a review or whatever. This is not the same. I really hate the idea of a Dremel, especially with all this gasoline under here. I guess burning in a fire would be good content. Who's going to upload it though? Looking at this fuel pump and how much space there is here, I would say that there's definitely a difference between the two. Yeah, that bottom one, see? It's a problem. And I pulled out probably my least favorite tool, a Dremel. Really don't like the idea of this, but let's see if I can get enough room. Dremel's bullshit, and the angle grinder's too huge. There's a few more cutting discs. I mean, you just go through these all night and never actually make a dent in the thing, but we can try a few more. In the worst case, I go through all of them and don't do any progress, which seems pretty likely. That's my experience with Dremel. I mean, I guess it's for like hobby kind of bullshit, I suppose. It's actually surprisingly doing better than I thought. I mean, it's slow, but it's doing it a relatively controlled way. Maybe I'm being too hard on the poor Dremel. Wow, that thing is getting hot. I don't think that was really intended to do this kind of work. Let's see if I can't grab and break some of that off a little bit. Something like that, you know? sure. Just trying to chill it out so it won't cut the line. You know, if it'll fuck up my hand, it'll definitely fuck up the fuel line. Let's just get a quick mock-up. Snuck over here, that snuck over there, and around. That's not gonna be enough by a bunch. This pump is plastic and it is now leaking. I broke it. Yeah, there's no question about it. It's definitely broken. Gas coming out now too. That sucks. Frustrating stuff. Is there a way to combine this pump and that old pump housing or something? I don't think there's any harm in checking. In the off chance there is a solution here, maybe I can use this housing or some shit. I don't know. I'm going to say there's no way to do it without destroying that pump. Fuck. Well, I think that's a bust for today. I think that's as much as I can get done, which is not very much. Sort of feels like I haven't done anything, actually. I guess I need to replace the pump at least. Maybe I can look at other pumps. Maybe there are ones with more similar designs to that one. I'll try that. And then just gonna hit where I sanded the shit out of the thing with some Steelit. I'll let that dry. And I'll put a fuel pump on it maybe tomorrow.
Overnight parts from Japan.
We'll put it on my tab at Harry's.
Yes!
I had a couple fuel pumps show up that are gonna fit. I wasn't really sure what was gonna show up because the photos are kind of like just photos of whatever. Problem with the new one that I got is these two aren't high up like this. They're close to this bracket, so it wouldn't fit. This one looks like it will fit. There's the things in the right place. And then this one looks like it also will fit. So I'm thinking that either of these seem fine. They're probably the same pump even. I don't really see any kind of like benefit one way or another. Instructions. Put the pump on the car. Don't forget to disconnect the battery. Don't burn yourself with gasoline. And here's the instructions in Spanish and French. Great, perfect. Thinking maybe this one, we're gonna go with it. So let's just make sure that this fits without issue. And I don't see any kind of real problem with that. So all we need to do is swap these lines onto here. These little rubber feet things have to go on too. So let me grab those rubber feet things. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, that's the same. So I guess I'll swap the lines now. I might lose a little gas here, but I don't think it's gonna be anywhere near as crazy and dangerous as before. And I will at least put this out of the way. Ouch. Okay, no problem. All right, this one I expect a little more gas. All right, ready? Okay, none. Tighten it right up. Not crazy, but tight enough. I think we can. Oh yeah, that's gonna go right on there with no problem. Just thread these in. Just get a couple of threads in. I think I can make the others fit. That's through, and that's thread started. Last bolt, get it through, and start it into the threads. Okay, that's all bolts tight. I guess that's it. Okay, so that one's on there too. Just so long as it doesn't, like, you know, get caught on anything when I'm driving is really the main issue. But I also accidentally got a cap and rotor for this. I don't want to switch it yet because I don't want to introduce any new variables to what's going on with this thing. So everything's the same except for the fuel pump and filter. Okay, and let's see if it will start. What do you think the chances are? What did I miss? Well, the pump does work. And I've gotten more vibration in here. And I don't like that rattle. Don't see any leaks. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see what I can do different, you know, kind of is what it is. All right, well, I'm not really seeing what I can do about that. That seems like obviously you've done something wrong, but I also guess there's not much point in trying to resolve it if the car still doesn't, you know, work right. So I think maybe it's time to pleasure cruise this thing around and see if it's better. I'm actually feeling pretty good about it now that I've been out here for a little bit. The clicking is reduced pretty dramatically. I don't hear it right now at all. It seems to be dependent on how much fuel it needs. And there are so many other noises happening in here that the fuel pump clicking every once in a while is really not that big of a deal. Like the knuckles make noise. Like there, I'm like bottoming out and scrubbing tire. It's like the fuel pump clicking is the least of the concerns. So I'm leaning towards just leaving it. There's stuff to do, so checking that off the list, great. Let's just keep it moving. I will run this for a little while though and make sure that the issue that I have is gone. And then if it is, I think I'm gonna call it a job well done and just leave this pump on it. So if it works, I think we're good. And so far it works. So let's just cruise for a little bit. That hill was a great example of where the fuel pump almost definitely would have given me problems before. That kind of simple incline where you just need a little bit more, it just didn't have it. And the other thing was the highway. So maybe I'll go cruise a little bit, then take the highway back. If all those things go well, then I am gonna check this machine off the list. There had a little hesitation there, but I think it was the way the carb is set up. No, there's my problem. It's back. So not the fix. Fuck. There, I'm flat out not going. I'm just not able to go. Now you can see I'm slowing. I'm flat to the floor, by the way. And the car is cutting off. So, flashers. And we need to get out of traffic. Starts up. Let it idle for a little bit. And you'll have a little fuel pressure again. Fuck. Boy, I am a hazard. There, I'm going a little bit. So I'm gonna make it stop that because it'll break something. Flashers on. People behind me are confused. See, I try to go and there's just nothing there. No power. See, now I've got a little bit. I'm gonna pull into this country club. I'm sure they're gonna be happy to see me. So what does that mean? I get that duration of time to run before I start starving for fuel. Yeah, immediately, same kind of thing. It's bucking because it's not getting enough, it seems. So then that means my old fuel pump was probably doing just fine. I think what I'm gonna do is, once I get out here to the light, I'm just gonna let it, actually there's somebody behind me. I'm just gonna pull over for a second and they'll figure it out. Actually, they're in a Prius, they might not. Or whatever that thing is. All right, so sitting here, I'm letting it run. That's building up pressure. That's giving me enough to go for a little bit longer. This will almost definitely be a problem out here, and there's no real good way back. I think I'm just gonna have to be in people's way. Hopefully I don't get rear-ended. So here we have a big downhill. That should be fine. I'm gonna get in the right lane, the slow lane, not the passing lane. And I'm gonna go. There's a little pull, mostly dying, and I'm doing nothing different with my foot. So now I know I don't have enough fuel to go anywhere. I'll pull over and let the pressure build back up, actually cut off completely. But it can start right back up. If I let it sit here, I'll be able to do that same thing again. That to me seems like it should be the fuel pump, but I just changed it so it can't be the fuel pump. What does that mean? Clog in the tank. I changed the filter, so shouldn't be any blockage there. I'm gonna go get a little bit more of this road, and I'm in a pretty precarious state here. It's not a great spot to be when your car won't work right. I'm gonna go for it. I have to have enough room that if I run out of steam, I can get there. There's power. We're going for it. Okay, so now I should be able to kind of cruise back, and when it inevitably has issues again, I won't be as endangered.
Trying to think of what else could be restricting flow. I guess I do have another filter here I could replace. I think probably temporarily I can run a hose from there to there as long as I have a fuel line. I could test that. Maybe once it cools off, actually, so I don't ignite anything. But this could be an issue if some junk is in here.
All right, this thing's cooled off at least a little bit. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off and then run that line without a filter like I was talking about and see if that has a positive effect. One of these, it might be that, so I'll bring that too. Maybe just make sure I know where one of these is. Just try and break that seal all the way around. Something like that. There we go. I'm expecting some fuel here. I expected more than that. Not a massive fan of this style hose clamp. I don't know anyone that is. Get it back off of there. This hose is original, I believe. So that's what, 50 years of heat cycle. Curious to see this on the bench and see if something in there. There are some things in there, honestly. It's all small, but it's not nothing. Okay, that came off no problem. Now, replacement line, that size. Gonna work for both sides. From here over to there. With no binding, something like this. Like this one, don't like this one. And I'm not overly confident that this will be the fix. It's just a fingers crossed and kind of pinning down like what is left. I'm really hoping I don't have some kind of issue in the tank, which is honestly fairly likely. It's a pretty straight shot. All right, so let's see what that does for us, and everybody hope that that filter was so trash that it stopped the vehicle completely. What do you think? Is it gonna work? First, let's check it for leaks. No leaks. Out here cruising it again for about as much time as I think should have passed before I start experiencing problems. And so I'm gonna drive and we'll see if the problems pick up. And if so, I'm in trouble. So yeah, I'll just cruise for a little bit and we'll see how it goes. I've got someone behind me, so I'm gonna let them pass because I am slow. Even like fully getting on it, I'm doing the speed limit at best. I'm starting to get hopeful, which is not great, because if I get my hopes up, then I'm sure to have failure. Let's run a little further and see what happens. Look how pretty that is. But how about it? I would say there's almost no way this vehicle would have made it up that hill with this stuff I was experiencing previously. So can you believe it? That tiny filter, I want to say, I mean, we'll keep going, but I have been that pathway before and I have not made it that distance without experiencing that same problem where the thing's starving for fuel. So we'll run a little more to prove it, but I am feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident. Accelerating right up the hill, no problem. Now I've done that entire previous circuit as well as this section where I was having trouble earlier today. So I think that's great. I think I'm gonna test it by putting it on the highway. That has been absolutely a no-go previously. Merging onto the highway now, this would be impossible previously, regardless of how long I'd let it sit. Coming out here would have been instant. starving for fuel. So let's see how we do. Right on over. Okay, 40, 45. I think even this is pretty impressive. And that's up to 55. Granted, I am going downhill, but even still, I think that's a big win. I'm chuffed as chips. This rules. 65 miles per hour in 5th gear, no problem. Oh man, I'm so pleased. This is great news. I think that's it. I think we did it. I think we figured it out. It looks like I'm able to do highway. I haven't had any kind of fuel issue. And I've been running for a while now. I don't know if maybe the pump, the underneath filter, or the one up front. It seems like the one up front by itself really made the big difference, but I'll leave all the other stuff anyway, and I think that's gonna do it. I mean, I'm pleased, so. Yeah, dude, I'm into it. All this boring traffic and lick my balls. About to stomp on this Kia minivan. Well, I'm so pleased this thing is back in rotation as a driver. It's so fun to drive. It's impossible to speed. Regardless of how hard you rip it, you can't break the speed limit. And when you get there, you can air it out. Ooh la la. And turned out to be something relatively simple. So that's my favorite kind of fix. Now it runs and drives. That is great. So anybody that watched this, definitely thank you for hanging around. Kind of be surprised if you did, but appreciate it. Also, if you offered me any advice on this about what to look for, thanks a lot for that. Until next time, maybe we'll work on something else. See ya.